I'm Naomi Mosley, and I go to Culver Stockton College. I'm currently at home in Urbana, Illinois, and I think it's incredibly important to document this time in history during the COVID-19 pandemic. So I've tried to film this video, I think at least 3 times, but I got interrupted by a parade of school teachers and fire trucks who they were going through my neighborhood honking their horns with signs that say that they miss their students, and I think that that is incredible. So that's something that would that has not happened since I've been alive. And yes, I've only been alive 20 years. But this is an important moment in history that I believe that children will be learning about in school books in a little bit. So the first question here is, where were you when you heard that school was canceled because of COVID-19? I was here in Urbana, Illinois, at home probably, and I had seen other schools cancel or move to online schools or extend their spring breaks, and that's what Culver did. Culver extended their spring break for a week, and I thought that was very rare because Culver Stockton College does not cancel class. There can be an ice storm, a blizzard, or whatever comes to us on that hill, and Culver does not cancel. But that's when I knew that it was super serious. One of the questions is, when did you realize that things were getting more serious than the media portrayed? And I think I realized that a little bit before spring break. When I was leaving for spring break, I knew that things were getting a little serious, that I needed to be careful. So when I was driving home and I stopped at a gas station, I made sure that I not only washed my hands in the bathroom like I always do, but I made sure that I didn't touch anything I didn't need to touch. I put on hand sanitizer as soon as I got into my car for when I touched the door handles and things like that. So I think I was being overly cautious, but as a clean freak or germaphobe or whatever you want to call it beforehand, I think I was already prepared for something like this to happen. I remember during spring break, I went to Marianne's Diner, which is a staple here in Urbana, Illinois, for all of the kids that go to the university. And I remember going in there, and when I sat down at a table, I brought out a disinfectant wipe to make sure that the table was clean, because there were a couple cases in Champaign County. How has the pandemic affected your connections with your friends? So, my connections with my friends they haven't really changed. We are all pretty young and we're on social media all the time, so we talk to each other all the time. I have a best friend actually who goes to school in Normal, Illinois, so I am constantly calling her. I think we talk on the phone about every other day. So those important connections have not been lost. The next question is, who is your first thought when you were told about the high-risk population? I first thought about the elderly, of course, and those with respiratory issues, and probably like small children. And yes, those are the ones that the CDC says are high risk. But I didn't realize how terrible this virus is just for everyday healthy people. So I feel like for everyday healthy people, it is our duty, because we do have a slightly lower chance or risk, to follow the CDC guidelines and ask our high risk people if they need help with anything. I've been calling my grandparents, seeing if they need things. They don't want me helping. But it's really important to do things like that. Reach out to your friends who have younger children. Ask them if they need you to go to the grocery store for them. So little things like that are really important during this time. How did this affect your relationship with your grandparents or older relatives? I think our relationship is totally fine. It's as good as it was before the pandemic. And we have cell phones. I call them often to see if they need help with anything. I'm always on the phone with my grandma Jean, and we're laughing all the time. So those are totally fine. But I am worried a little more about their health than mine at the moment. How did students of different socioeconomic levels continue their education? So I just told you earlier about how there was a group of Urbana School District teachers and fire department firefighters. They just did a parade in my neighborhood. That's incredible. So I'm really proud of how the Urbana School District has dealt with this pandemic. Urbana District 116, we are incredible. We are Tiger Strong, and we are doing great things. Our students, they now have Chromebooks. We have a poverty issue here in Urbana, but we were able to get Chromebooks for most of our students for them to take home and do homework. We switched to e-learning, I think, last week. So my little brother, who's in 6th grade, he's able to get on a Chromebook and do homework, Zoom with his teachers. He's been doing Zoom conferences even with the Boy Scouts of America, which I think is now Scouting of America. Excuse me if I'm using the wrong term. So that's incredible. I worry about those at lower economic levels, though. Those whose parents can't take the time off work to go get the Chromebook from the school. Those whose parents are working so hard that they don't have time to think about these issues. So that is where I'm worried. I haven't seen many people of lower economic status on social media talking about these things, but also if we think about those of the lower economic status, they probably don't have the resources to get on social media and talk about these issues and advocate for themselves. So I think it's our duty as people who do have internet access and who have these incredible devices that get on the internet to kind of get the word out and make sure that these lower income level people are getting the proper resources that they need, especially the children who, if we mess up their education now, some of them are in very important levels of their education where if it's messed up, they will be illiterate or they won't have the proper skills that they need to succeed in life. How did social media influence your life during isolation? My life in isolation does not feel isolated at all. It seems like everyone's struggling with the same things. There's tips. There's even this new trend online that is like bingo. It's Corona bingo. And you mark like all of the little kind of quirky things that you've done during this time. And you see if you get a bingo. One of the questions is, what have I done to keep to pass time during isolation? I'm a college student. I've been doing schoolwork. I've been turning my childhood room into a room fit for an adult who is studying rigorous college courses. So as you can see, I'm in my childhood bedroom with this very sophisticated wrapper wall that I created in middle school. So that's pretty much all I've been doing. I've been connecting with friends and family. I've been doing schoolwork. I've been organizing my room. So I have not had any time to be bored. Where do I get all of my information on the virus? I get most of my information from the CDC. I try not to freak myself out into some weird hysteria by seeing things on social media that may not be from very reliable sources. So I've been getting all of my information from the CDC, and I want to give a huge shout out to Lilly Singh. Lilly Singh is one of my favorite YouTubers, and she had Dr. Fauci on her channel, and they made a video that busted myths on the coronavirus. So I think that was very important for her to do, because as someone who has millions of subscribers and they're of younger ages, so mid-20s and younger, we are more susceptible to believing things on social media. So she put a very, very reliable source on YouTube for us. And I think that's incredible. Dr. Fauci is with the CDC, and he gave us very important lessons on what to do during this time. So I think that's pretty much it. I've just been washing my hands, wearing a mask when I go out, wearing gloves, and I think it's really interesting to see these little signs about social distancing. So I will post some of those signs on our discussion board. But I hope everyone is staying well and staying safe. Stay well. Bye.